a disorder that happens, I guess, while the child is being formed from two parents who are carriers of a deformed gene, I guess. And we have different types of sickle cell anemia. I also want to add, if anybody seems to have a little bit of knowledge of sickle cell anemia, the first thing, or the common thing that's said is, oh yeah, it's black people disease. Oh yeah, it's Afro-Caribbean disease. However, we have Asians and Greeks that have a type of sickle cell anemia, sickle cell thalassemia. And I actually have one of my friends from one of our sickle centers in Holloway here as proof, who ain't black, but he's a brother. So yeah, it can affect people of different races as well. It's not just for the black community, which is why it's imperative that we all, no matter what color you are, no matter what color your blood is, that we're all aware of sickle cell. Now, sickle cell affects all areas of one's life. Once you're born, it's determined, what your lifestyle will be like. You can't play with other kids because being too active could lead to a crisis later at night. If you fall, you may end up with a crisis at night. If you happen to be cold at any point of the day, that can end up in hospital at the end of the day. Have something too cold to eat, to drink. You grow older. School becomes a problem because you may be missing a lot of days of being ill. Now, going into what actually happens when one with sickle cell gets ill is that the red blood cells are sickle-shaped, or clearly misshapen. So when blood is flowing, they basically get jammed up in the veins and then cause pain. And it can happen in anywhere in the body, anywhere at all. And sickle cell is no respecter of person. Disrespectful, anytime, anywhere, any day. So, being mindful of the triggers, I mentioned some of them being cold weather, or food, or just anything really falls, is imperative. It's really hard on parents and carers as well. Loved ones. Now, I have my brother here. He's going to kick me for this later. He doesn't like me pointing out to him. But I've known him since I was about 18, 19, when my sickle cell was really, really bad. And I actually happened to be homeless at that time. He can testify 3 weeks out of a month where I'll be couch-bound, bed-bound at home, or in hospital. And usually it'll be triggered by my cycle. And I will have to wait for him to finish work, to come to mine, to help me get to the bathroom, or just to help me get a glass of water, because my legs will be affected. And once I got better, literally it's like learning to walk again, like, mama. Like, that's how bad it will be every single month. Anyway, not to go on for too long. I had a very bad episode, I think in 2009 or so, where I sickled in my chest. And it got really bad that I also had pneumonia. I could not say a full sentence without taking a breath after each word. It was really, really bad. I was in hospital for quite a while. And this was actually after my degree in university was also interrupted, because in Bedfordshire, where I went to university, they had no idea what sickle was. So I had to be brought to London, and I was stuck in the hospital and couldn't finish my degree because I was in there for weeks on end. Right. Anyway, back to the episode. It was after being pumped with so much morphine, which is usually the drug we're given, either morphine, Severodol, Tramadol, all sorts, that then cause other adverse side effects to us. I thought to myself, there's got to be so much more to this. There's got to be something in nature that can help me manage much better rather than having their pain taken off with morphine and then having to go through the side effects that the morphine or whatever else causes, ibuprofen, diamorphine, dicodeine, literally it's like a cocktail. And in hospital they say, we'll start here and see if it works. Oh no, 3 hours later it didn't work, let's try this. And you're going up the scale. And all of this takes its toll on your kidneys, on your spleen, on your liver. Not good. So anyway, I thought to myself, yes, there's got to be something better in nature. And I discovered Dr. Sebi. Some of you may have heard of him. Yes. Literally binge watch his documentaries and everything. And there's one thing about me, I'm a little bit all or nothing. That's not necessarily a good thing. But once I make a decision on something, that's it. My no is my no, and my yes is my yes. So from that very moment, I decided all the stuff I needed to cut out, dairy, the starches, all of that had to go. And for 14 years now, almost 14 years now, I've been alkaline vegan. And the amazing effects it's had on my life. I am the testimony, let me tell you. I have so much energy, and I'm naturally a very active person. So being confined to a bed and a couch for weeks on end in a vegetative state really was not my purpose. Speaking of purpose, I also firmly believe it's part of my sole purpose to be of servitude, to give to others. Hence me standing here sharing thanks to Tanya, and hopefully to many others, to encourage you to use food as medicine. We really have been given medicine in our food within nature. Let's pursue a healthy lifestyle. I mentioned earlier that we share, we give to each other and heal each other basically by touching, smiling, clapping, hugging. That's all part of living an alkaline lifestyle. That's all part of healing and just feeding the soul, yours and another person. I personally don't believe we were made to be lone wolves as well. Regardless of your belief, I think there's always at some point in your life where you do feel the need to connect to another. It's natural things within our DNA. And so if we've been built that way, then let's heal each other that way. Let's talk to each other and share more. But anyway, going back to food. Food as thy medicine. There's so much out there that's also been taught to us from young. Carrots give you vitamin A, make you see in the dark. Now, kudos to the education system. I have serious issues with the education system. I'm not going to go into it now. And yes, carrots is rich in vitamin A due to its bright color, same as other brightly colored vegetables. But let's educate ourselves with where our food comes from, because there are such things as real vegetables and hybrid vegetables as well. So as healthy as something like carrot can be, if it's a hybrid, it is contributing to your ailments in one way or another. I'm not trying to be controversial. Just want, awareness. Let's be aware of what we're putting into our bodies. There's a lot of things as well. We live in a man-made society. We're now concrete jungle. So let's not think that's just where it stops. Our food, some of our food are hybrids. And so if they will have one thing or another that could benefit you, but they'll be much higher in the sugars and starches that then causes things like thyroids, like my lovely sister Lee talked about, and other, fertility issues or other one thing or another. So let food be thy medicine. I don't want to go on too long. I don't know how much time I have left. Okay. So in terms of, I spoke about food. Let's talk about giving to each other through smiles, hugs, and all of that. Let's talk about what we say to ourselves, right? So we speak from where we feel, usually anyway. You think something, and then the verbally you communicate it. Do we know that neurologically, we're also affected by food. Now, I told you I've been almost 14 years alkaline vegan. I was diagnosed with ADHD, dyspraxia, and a touch of dyslexia I think in 2015. And let me tell you something. In my journey of being alkaline vegan, I noticed a huge, massive change in my thought process. My brother here will testify to you. I used to walk around in a long dark coat with a hood. The joyful person you see before you was not existing back then. I had so much things going on in my life, and it was just dark thoughts, and just, I couldn't understand what was going on in my life. I often wanted to end it. I changed my diet, and I noticed the change in my thinking. I was much more lighter, I was much more positive, I was much more affirmative to myself, and then in a better position to give to others and people that I came across. In fact, it drove me to want to give to other people I come across. I love when people come into our dispensaries like Green Machine, and I'm able to give to them and they leave with a smile. Again, I did mention my sole purpose being of servitude, but I realized that my thinking definitely had changed. I can't tell you exactly what it was, and my diet changed, but it did affect me, only to then find out that starches and sugars does have a contribution to all these neurodiverse conditions out there. They say someone's autistic, they say someone has ADHD and all of that. They all contribute to it. So when food is thy medicine, not just for general ailments and colds and chronic illnesses, but for your mind. We have receptors in our mind, in our guts, everywhere in the body. So therefore, healing takes place in all different shapes or forms, through food, through contact, through communication. I'm repeating myself now, but you get the story, right? You get the gist of what I'm saying, right? Cool, yes. So, yeah, I encourage everyone to just be lighter, be aware of what you're consuming on a daily basis, eat better for yourself, for your future, for your loved ones, for your offspring, and see the changes and be a better person for somebody else you can also give to. And let there be more businesses, like every single business owner that stood here and said, I had this and it led me to this, and now I can provide this. I'm Charlie Buckle. Should you want to speak to me about anything, do come